Hello friends, myself CA Kunal Agrawal and welcome to my channel kunalsir.in. Friends, in this video I am going to cover some important amendments for your January 2026 exams. So with the blessing of Lord Ganesha, we start our journey for January 2026 exams. Friends, as such, if we compare from September 25 to January 26, there are not much amendments, but this video is based on the statutory update provided by the ICAI. So almost you can say around 80 to 90% amendments were already in syllabus for your September 2025 exams, and these amendments are being repeated for January exams. So as such, there are no much amendments. But if questions on those amended provisions were not asked in September exams, so they become very important from January exam point of view. So whatever amendments which were applicable for September exams are equally important for January exams also. So we start with the chapter of charge. We'll make some short videos for different chapters so that it does not get boring for you people. So in this video we are going to cover only 3 changes, 2 amendments and 1 circular which gave certain clarification about applicability or reverse charge applicability. So as you can see on this screen, there are total 2 services on which some changes related to reverse charge mechanism were done. The first change is in sponsorship services. Now what changes is being made here? Earlier services, we have to check supplier. So earlier supplier was any person and recipient was body corporate or partnership firm, then reverse charge would be applicable. So if services of sponsorship is supplied by any person but the recipient is either body corporate or partnership firm, then reverse charge mechanism will be applicable. Say individual is providing, company is providing, we were not supposed to check who is supplier. We have to focus only on recipient. But now what changes is done? Now we have to check supplier is any person other than a body corporate. And who should be the recipient? Either body corporate or partnership firm. So if supplier is body corporate and recipient is body corporate, so whether this provision will be applicable? No. Earlier it was applicable because supplier was any person and recipient was body corporate. But now who is supplier? Any person other than body corporate. So let's understand with this. Now I'll ask, you give answer. Supplier, who is supplier? Sir, we have a supplier who is a body corporate and recipient is body corporate. So both are body corporate. So whether this provision will be applicable of reverse charge mechanism? In such case, reverse charge mechanism will not be applicable. Second case, so supplier is body corporate but recipient is non-body corporate. Say for example, recipient is a partnership firm. So whether RCM is applicable? So who is supplier? Supplier is body corporate. Again, RCM provision not applicable. We are not supposed to see who is recipient. Then supplier is non-body corporate. Now first half is completed. Supplier who is any person other than a body corporate. So supplier, who is supplier? Supplier is non-body corporate. Now who is recipient? So recipient is body corporate. So again supplier is non-body corporate and recipient is body corporate. In such case RCM provision apply. So supplier, non-body corporate, recipient, partnership, again RCM apply. So supplier, non-body corporate, recipient, individual, RCM not apply. So very important, clear friends? So be very careful, like what happens when institute asks question related to computation of GST. Then they give such kind of tricky things and students generally miss. We have seen in so many cases, students miss these small things of RCM and then they don't get the expected marks. So I think this provision is clear, so you have to check. And second one is again a very important provision and very tricky. Now, what is the category of supply of service? Services by way of renting of any immovable property other than residential dwelling. So we are not talking about residential dwelling here, because residential dwelling is not subject to RCM. Now, who is the supplier? Any registered person. And earlier, who was the recipient? Any registered person. Yeah, other than this was added by amendment, which was applicable for September and applicable for January also. Now, services by way of renting of immovable property other than residential dwelling. So just for understanding, we can say a kind of commercial property. We are talking about commercial property. So earlier, any registered person was supplying to a registered person. So RCM was applicable. Now what happens? So many persons are registered under composition. So a normal taxpayer or normal registered person will get ITC, but a composition taxpayer will not get ITC of this RCM. So it is a loss for that composition person. So then what government did? They did an amendment, and what they did, in case of recipient of service, this RCM provision is applicable only if it is received by any registered person other than person who opted to pay tax under composition levy. So I am paying rent, I am registered in GST, then I have to pay tax on that rent expenses on RCM basis, but I am registered in composition, then this provision is not applicable. But here is a very important thing. I am supplying a service which is exempt, and I have taken certain premises on rent on which I have to pay GST under RCM, although my services are exempt, because here only composition levy has been excluded. So if I am a supplier and I provide exempted service, first question it might come in your mind that, sir, if you are supplying exempted services or exempted goods, then why you have taken registration? That is a separate thing. We are not discussing that thing. Yes, I am registered in GST. So if I am registered in GST, I have to pay tax under RCM, whether my services are taxable or not, that is a very different matter. Clear ekdam? So please friends, be very careful while you solve questions in your exam. Don't get confused, like if my output is exempt, then RCM is not applicable on me. It is not that so. Clear? So here you can note down also, like only composition has been excluded, but exempted services has not been excluded. So if you are providing exempted services or exempted goods and taken some property on rent, then you have to pay GST on RCM, and that GST is the loss for you. You cannot take ITC because your output is exempt. Clear ekdam? So these are the two minor changes related to RCM applicability. And then there is one circular regarding DDA. Now what is DDA? DDA is Delhi Development Authority. Now you know there are so many services which are provided by local authorities on which RCM is applicable. We are not discussing the provisions in detail, like on what services RCM is applicable. You have gone through when you did your study, like there are so many government services which they provide to a business entity on which RCM is applicable. So now the issue was there. So there are certain services which are provided by DDA, Delhi Development Authority. So can we treat DDA as a local authority under GST law? There are so many development authorities, like we have Delhi Development Authority, we have Jaipur Development Authority, we have Ajmer Development Authorities, and there are so many kind of authorities which develop cities. The circular is specific on DDA, is not on other, but same provision apply on other authorities also. So that DDA can be treated as local authority. So now what is local authority? Actually local authorities you can say like a municipality or municipal committee which is empowered or which is empowered to provide the basic services like sanitization or cleaning, this kind of services to cities and towns. So generally these development authorities are not supposed to do this kind of work. So what clarification government gave? Local authority means authority which is similar to enacted self-governing body municipal committee which is control management of municipal or local fund. So whatever authority which is managing the municipal or local fund, that only can be treated as local authority. So DDA is not supposed to manage that local fund. It's not the duty of DDA to provide basic services like cleaning or sanitization etc. to the citizen. So DDA cannot be treated as local authority. So that circular is not that you can say important from exam point of view, but yes, these two amendments are very important from exam point of view. So if you have any doubt, you can ask through comment or through my mobile number is displaying on the screen. You can ask your query through WhatsApp or through Telegram channel. Okay friends, so in next video we will be covering different aspects, different chapters like amendments made in different chapter for your January 2026 exams. Okay, bye.